Hey everybody, it's Miranda here from the Swirly Do's Education Design Team, and today I'm going to be showing you how I'm going to kind of create my background for the Technique Kit this month. We have these canvas boards from Zutter, really sturdy, awesome, super thick. So I'm going to be working with that, and we have the glass gel medium, which came in our kit, and surprisingly, I have never worked with this stuff. So I'm actually pretty excited. This is the consistency of it, and I've looked up a few videos, and I didn't find much. Lisa on our design team and Ray, they've all had experience using this. I'm sure pretty much everybody on the design team has, and I've seen a few things from them. So I'm just going to kind of wing it with this. But I also had an idea I really want a lot of texture here, a ton of texture. And I kind of have a layout in mind of what I'm going to do. So I'm going to focus on this area in here. But to get started, I had an idea. This is an old technique that I used a long time ago, and I kind of haven't used it again since then, and it's actually really fun. So you're going to need some kind of clay. You can either use female clay, which I have over there in a baggie, and then right here I have some Martha Stewart clay that came in a kit when I ordered some of her molds. This clay is amazing because if you guys have worked with the female clay, it's pretty hard to get to work. It's just really, it takes a while to, you know, roll it around in your hands to warm it up to where you can actually create with it, to where it's pliable, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And this stuff is just like air. It's amazing. So it's already really squishy, and you don't have to heat it up. It just dries on its own. Like, I think it takes 8 hours and then it's ready to go. So we're going to create our own like background texture with this. And what I'm going to do, I've already created a piece over here. Let's see if I can lift it up. Is we're going to be stamping into it. So this is it. It's not dry yet, and it doesn't have any colorings on it, but this is what it looks like for now. So all you're going to do, I have a rolling pin over there, but I found that just an acrylic block works too, so I'll probably use a combination of both of them actually just to show you. So you're just going to take your clay, roll it until you get a little ball, and then you're just going to start flattening it out. You can use an acrylic block. The only plus to using a rolling pin is you can kind of get cool edges on it, if that makes sense. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Peel it off there, get a little excess, and you can put something non-stick on here, but it's no big deal to me. Maybe it should be because it's sticking really bad now, but just keep rolling it until you get like it stretched out pretty far. And that is good for me. I want it pretty thin, so the rolling pin will definitely get it flatter than the acrylic block will. Okay, so now just take a background stamp of your choice. I'm using this one right here. It's just butterflies and clocks and script on there. And you're just going to stamp into it. And I'm going to have some excess, but that's okay. So I'm just going to take it and apply even pressure. I've seen some people take a rolling pin and actually roll on top of it. I prefer just to push down. And again, you can use like some non-stick stuff to make sure it doesn't stick, but it's pretty good. Okay, so this is what it looks like when you're done. And I'm going to tear this little piece off over here. Actually, I'm going to cut it because that'll look cleaner. So I'm just using my palette knife and cutting a little off of there, so I don't want to waste any. And then this part's not going to show on my canvas. You'll see what I mean when I'm putting it on there. I'm going to grab a little bit more. I'm going to create one more piece. Except I don't want this one to be too big because I want it to be completely covered. Okay, I'm actually just going to use the acrylic block here, just kind of stretch it out in different areas. Excuse me, y'all. I just don't want a perfect circle, I guess. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to stamp in here. And if you are using Fimo clay, if you have, I think it's called a pasta rolling machine, to roll your clay out, that is like a savior for you because that stuff's really hard to work with. But if not, you just got to work it with your hands for a little while. You can usually just shake this off. Just be really careful when you peel it that you're not stretching out your pattern. Okay, so that's what this one looks like. This is the Martha Stewart clay, so like I said, it takes about 8 hours to dry. So I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm also going to start creating a couple of parts of my background using some of the papers from the main kit this month. I'm just setting these to the side. Y'all give me 1 second. Okay, so we have some of the Fairy Rhymes paper from Prima, and I really, really like the wood grain. So I'm actually going to cut pieces of the wood grain apart. Okay, so I'm just going to keep cutting out little strips out of the Fairy Rhymes paper, the little wood grain pieces. And I'm going to distress the edges of those up with frayed burlap distress ink. And I'm going to use Mod Podge to adhere them down onto my canvas. And if you've not worked with Mod Podge on canvas, it's pretty cool because it creates a resist pattern. So you could even like put it on your stamps and stamp with it, and it just resists your sprays and stuff. So it's pretty cool stuff to use. And just kind of place them how I want them to go, and then start adhering them down with Mod Podge. And I do go over the top of them because I want to seal them good to the canvas, and then I kind of go around areas kind of off of the pieces of wood just to give it that resist technique that I want to do. And I'm taking some texture paste, some homemade texture paste, and I'm just randomly going around and scraping it down, and then I'm using a script stamp to make an impression into the molding paste. It creates a ton of dimension, and it will really mesh with my clay pieces very well. This mixed media canvas, although it doesn't look like it from this video, this was like an 8-hour process of creating this. Letting things dry, building things up, adding more to it, so it was quite time consuming, but definitely worth in the end. And I found out a lot of, fun techniques along the way, and then things not to do next time. So every time you create, you can kind of get a learning experience from it. So just feel free to get messy and try different things with mixed media. And I'm going in and just spraying around. You can kind of see what that molding paste looks like with the stamping in it. Just spraying all my different colors on there and kind of letting them run together. And now I'm taking the stencil from the kit this month. Absolutely beautiful. I cannot say how much I love this stencil. It's just amazing. So I am just using a palette knife to adhere my texturing paste on there. And the color of this is just so, so pretty. Okay, I'm taking my little elements. The birdcage is from my stash, but the other wooden elements and then the other chipboard piece are from the kit. And I am just going over them with some gesso from a previous Swirly Doos kit. And I'm going to just add some of that glass bead gel in a minute. I just want to create a lot of dimension on there and just kind of tone down the wood color. Those little pieces there from the Prima wooden embellishments that we had in our kit, it's just so fun. They are just awesome, especially the little vine pieces. I'm so in love with them. Okay, so now I'm just spraying the same color on top of my chipboard pieces, and then a darker color as well on my lace. I'm taking the glass bead gel from the kit, And for some reason, glass bead gel is a tongue twister for me. I kept calling it glass bead gel all day yesterday. So it's not that, it is glass bead gel, y'all. And I had never worked with this stuff before, so I've been really having a lot of fun with seeing what I can do with it and just texturizing things. And I wanted it to almost look like there was like snow inside of this bird cage, so it was pretty good for adding that texture in there. And I'm just going on top of those little Prima embellishments as well. Okay, now I've got my clay pieces here and they are completely dried. It's been a few hours and I'm just going to start spraying them too. I want them to like mesh into the background, so I want them to be the same colors and everything. So I'm just spraying them and letting it all run together, and I'm just going to let that dry on its own. I'm not going to heat set it. I've got a little flower there from the kit this month and I'm just spraying the center of it to kind of darken it up. Now that these are completely dry, I've put some gesso there on my paper towel, and I'm just dipping my finger in it and rubbing over my little clay piece, and it's just hitting the raised areas and highlighting them. It's a really pretty effect. Okay, so I've got my clay pieces up there kind of where I want them to go, and what I'm doing is I'm just marking around where they're going to go because I need to go in with some texture paste. Otherwise, if I just set down the clay pieces, it would be too raised off of the canvas and it wouldn't like mesh well together, if you get what I'm saying. So I need to add some texture paste around those areas where I've marked, and I'm just going to use a paintbrush to do so, just to kind of like smooth it down into the lower parts of the canvas. I want everything just to blend well together. So I'm just going to go in and go around my little pencil marks, and then also just go around in random areas and add extra texture. This canvas, although it may not come across on video, it's got so many layers to it, and it is so texture jaw. It's just got so much dimension going on with it, and I had a lot of fun with this one. And I'm just kind of heat setting that to just speed up the process a little bit. And I'm going in and spraying my same colors over again, trying to keep them in the same area where I sprayed them before. Just letting it flow all over the little textured areas. Okay, and now I can adhere my clay pieces down, and I'm just using Fabri-Tac to do so. You can use any adhesive you want to. And I really want to get it all the way around on all the edges and everything. Not too much, but I really want good contact with this because I don't want it to peel up later on. And note to self, this was non-heating clay, and I forgot about that. And when I was trying to speed up some drying later on, I placed it back in my oven like I typically do, and it bubbled up, so I had to flatten it back down again. It was a pretty big mess, but I managed to save it. So if you have non-baking clay, do not put it in the oven. Okay, now I'm taking just a little bit more texture paste. You could just kind of see a seam around some parts of it, not all of the edges of the clay, but just some of them needed a little bit more texture. So I'm just going around and doing that again to make it all blend seamlessly together. And I'm kind of going out and randomly still hitting different areas just to like build up more texture and have everything blend. Okay, so we're spraying one more final time. So it's 3 layers of spraying, a couple layers of texture pastes, and then the masking going on. So there's a lot of layers here. But I'm just spraying the same colors again in the same areas I sprayed on before, just letting them run together. And now I'm taking a little bit more of the gesso on my finger because when I sprayed on top of the texture paste, it kind of ran onto the clay, and I want to re-highlight those impressions that I made with my stamps. So again, I'm just using my finger to lightly rub on top of there. And now I'm taking a crackle mask, which is from a previous kit, Technique Kit at Swirly Doos, and I'm just using the same texture paste to go around and give it some white instead of the pinkish color from the other texture paste. And I'm just going randomly all the way around it. Okay, and now I'm going to start adhering all of my embellishments. This is the cheesecloth from the Technique Kit this month, and I absolutely love to work with cheesecloth. It's so pretty and dainty and just adds so much texture to every project. And you know, I'm a grunge lover, so it adds like a little bit of shabby chicness to my grungy projects. So I'm just using hot glue to kind of just spot glue down a couple of areas. I want this to still be able to move, so I'm just adhering down little pieces of it to kind of get it into the shape that I want it to stay in. And just cutting the top of it so I can tear it a little more and it's not such a clean edge. And now I've got my flowers where I want them to go, kind of playing around with the placement. I'm just going to start adhering it down, the little Prima embellishments coming in and out of it. They're just so pretty. And can I just say this Prima flower, it's called Odetta. For those of you who have this kit, you know what I'm talking about. This flower is the prettiest Prima flower like ever. I am so in love with these flowers. We had 2 in the kit this month and they are just phenomenal. I absolutely love them. And then the little lace flowers are so cute too. So I'm just adhering those down, and then that strip of lace that we dyed earlier with our dark mist. And the chipboard that we had in the kit this month, it was one big flourish and I cut it in half. And I'm putting one piece there, and then as you can see at the top right of the canvas where my bird cage is, I used the other half of it as if it was like a hanging sign or a piece of a tree for the bird cage to hang off of. So when you get a chipboard shape, you don't always have to keep it how it is. You can cut it apart and do different things to it, and that's what I've done on this canvas. And I've got some letters here that say fly, and I'm just adhering those down. I do believe those are Tim Holtz Grunge Board letters, and I'm just painting on black so they would show up on my canvas. And I'm taking the rub-ons from the kit this month. I had never worked with rub-ons before, surprisingly. I had never bought them. I've had 1 or 2 in my stash from people, but I've just never used them, and I really love these Kaisercraft rub-ons, and they worked really well. I know people have said they had trouble with them before, so I guess that's why I didn't use them, but it went on really easily, and it was so pretty. It just added another layer of dimension there, and have it coming off around the bird cage like it's just a vine growing, and it's just super, super pretty. I was impressed with them. They're really pretty. So this is basically it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed the start to finish video. Like I said, just because you see 20 minutes on here, this was really like an 8.5-hour process. So just have fun and play, get out your different mediums, and just have fun. If you have any questions on anything I've done, just leave a comment down below and I will get back to you, and I hope everybody has a wonderful day.